I grew up dancing and listening to salsa uh, largely due to my Dominican side. My mother's Dominican and my mom's from El Cibao region, which is like the center of the island. And in the center of the island, a lot of people dance salsa. It's not to say that people from other parts don't, but it's a lot more prevalent. Salsa isn't inherently Dominican. Salsa actually was created in the United States. That's like the narrative that has been largely accepted. It was brought back then to countries like Colombia, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, which isn't a country, but you know what I'm talking about, and Dominican Republic. And it became popularized and personified that way, right? There seems to be like a trend in reggaeton artists, like, Bad Bunny, Raúl Alejandro, Karol G, even Guayna. Like having Guayna kind of sort of started it, and then, there's like this kind of like renaissance, right, of bringing back salsa back to these mainstream audiences. I think is really awesome, right? And I wish that Josh Lora, who at Tell the Bees, that's his account, I wish he would do a video on this because I find it so interesting. I really hope he does. Josh, like me, is Dominican American, and I'm sure he's salsa adjacent, even if he wasn't like something that he listened to growing up or whatever. So I'd love for him to do like a video on it. But it is astonishing the amount of famous salsa performers who have had a premature death due to alcohol and substance abuse. And like I get it, like drugs, crack was introduced in the 80s, and drugs and heroin and methadone and all this stuff was kind of ravaging towns and cities in the Northeast, largely due to the government, blah blah blah, whatever. Like I'm not super educated on the history, so I'm not gonna divulge too many details because I'm not really sure. It is actually insane the amount of, like, there are very few. I know Oscar de Leon is alive and he's in his 80s and he's still performing, but there are very few performers that are alive today that have made such an impact in salsa from so many years ago that, haven't had some sort of untimely demise. It's actually kind of crazy. And anyway, I'm sure in like, Willie Colon or like Hector Lavoe, like, or Frankie Ruiz, like, they would, in their wildest dreams, did they think, I'm sure, that salsa's having this renaissance right now. But I find it super cool and interesting, and I really hope history doesn't repeat itself. It kind of always makes me think, as someone who's a performer, and, my friends, some of the most brilliant people I know have struggled with abuse, with alcohol abuse or substance abuse. And it's like so sad to see such brilliant minds be lost to this, horrible thing that doesn't just affect you, but it affects your whole family. And yeah, sure, like all musicians, there's the 27 Club, whatever, but there's just something really to say about that. And I feel like, hopefully, I like to think of the new creatives of today, like having more of a community and having more of like the education and ability to combat that, and to kind of have the support systems that these our antecedentes, our ancestors, didn't have.